my watch, which I want to do a whole separate video on this. As you just saw in that last clip, I think it was like day 12. I think it's what's in my pocket. I said I would do a separate video about my watch. So here I am doing a separate video about my watch at 11 o'clock on July 3rd. Fun. So the biggest thing about my watch is that it is $15. It's a $15 watch. And that, I think it's just fun to say it's $15. That's kind of fun to, not to rub in people's faces, but just like, oh, it's $15. I kind of find it funny. Someone's like, oh, how much is that watch? It's like a $15 watch. You know, I think that's funny. But the reason why I wear the $15 watch and not splurge and get a little bit nicer watch that might last longer is because a $15 watch will always keep you grounded, in the sense of not boasting in your money that you may or may not have, and instead of boasting with the watch, having a $15 watch limits you, right? So it's a point of like, this is my watch limit, $15. If it looks good, it looks good, but it's $15. That's it. And end of story, right? I'm not paying for $2,000 watches or $200 watches just because it looks good and I want people to think it looks good. So it's a way to keep at least me grounded within like a spectrum, and try not to boast about really anything. Another thing, and this is more just generally why I wear watches, is that at a moment's notice I could glance at my wrist and say what time it is. And people are like, oh, like I have so many people say like, why don't you just use your phone? And I always respond with, the first thing I respond with is, it's rude to pull out your phone in certain circumstances, right? At a funeral, I'm not pulling out my phone to just check the time. That's rude, right? At a wedding and at, like, any really formal event, you don't want to pull out your phone just to check the time. So that's where a watch comes in. But it's also, especially like school, it's a way to keep me off my phone, right? And I'm not a person that really is on my phone at all. And actually, I've got a lot of people that say I stare a lot, because like, instead of staring at my phone, I'm staring around me and looking around the room, and people think I stare at them. Sometimes it's true, because people are weird. But again, it's just a way to keep me off my phone. So instead of pulling out my phone, looking at the time, and like looking, oh, I have this notification, I have this email, I have this text message. So instead of looking at these notifications and going into it and then just like getting stuck on my phone, I can just look at my wrists, check the time, have no notification. That's also why I don't wear a smartwatch. So I have no notifications, not like stuck looking at stuff, and I'm off my phone. So it just decreases that screen time, which I don't really care about screen time, but it also decreases like the usage of my phone, which in the long term means I use my phone for a longer period of time, meaning like I use my phone instead of for just a year, I use my phone for maybe 2 years because I'm using it less during every day, which effectively, like in real world scenarios, that might not be the most accurate statement, but I will say, in like if you do the math and like the statistics, then it can be, because the risk of pulling out my phone that's like fully glass, because I don't know why people start making glass phones, but instead of pulling out my phone that's fully glass, risking dropping my phone, risking getting my phone damaged, and then paying for repairs, I don't have to pull out my phone in general. So it keeps me off my phone, and then it also keeps me grounded within like a relative world. And it's also just like, oh, and another reason is that I'm dyslexic, right? So I don't know my lefts and right, and especially when I was going through driver's ed, they would say take a left at the light. I'm like, okay, a left. Shoo. Which side is a left? Right, and I would think, and then I would miss my window to turn into a left lane. No, actually, I don't think I've ever missed the window, but I would sit there thinking, it's like, oh crap, which side is left? And that's where the watch comes in, because watch is always supposed to be worn on the left hand. Watch is always supposed to be worn on the left hand. Alright, so I always put my watch on my left, which I have a watched hand, that's not fun. But I always have my watch on my left, but then my bracelets in my right, because I can't put bracelets behind or in front of a watch. It just feels uncomfortable. So I have my watch on my left, and then my bracelets on my right. So now whenever they say right or left, I think, where's my bracelets? Or where's my watch? Right? And if it's on my... And yeah, I think it's just easier to tell directions for a dyslexic person like me.